Hello everybody and welcome to the AOR F1 2016 Season 12 Championship. Today we're in Mexico City at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for round 19 of this 21 race season. My name is Justin and I'll be taking you along for all the action today, and joining me it's AliK.
Yeah, it's good to be back once again, and today for the Mexican Grand Prix, a track that we've never seen in AOR before. It wasn't run in Season 11 and only came into F1 in 2015, so should be a level playing field for all the drivers and a bit of a learning curve for some, but I'm sure if any of the previous races are anything to go by, we should be in for another good one today. Despite the championship being wrapped up already, there is still plenty to fight for throughout the field.
Yep, and last time out, it was the Flying Finn that took the top step of the podium, claiming his 10th win of the season and becoming the Drivers' Champion in his rookie season, and also securing the team's championship as well. Cupid and Martin were the other two drivers to feature on the podium after a disappointing and difficult race for Sayara. You saw him finish in 4th position, taking the final championship contender out of the running. So both championships are wrapped up, but we've still got 3 races left in this season. Let's kick things off with the full qualifying report for the Mexican Grand Prix.
Here we are then for the qualifying comparison at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico. And this week we got the man himself, Ycoms in the Force India on the left hand side, and AOR Raikkonen in the Ferrari on the right. Starting off the lap with a humongously long straight down into turn 1. You have a lot of time to think about the braking point for this corner, but it's still quite tricky to get it perfectly spot on. Quite a wide piece of track here as well, so you turn in from far out, clip that apex, open up turn 2 and try to get a nice flow with the turn in also for turn 3. Crucial corner that as well on the second DRS straight on this circuit. Turn 1 and 4 definitely places where we'll see quite a bit of overtaking action in the race, and as you can see after the first sector, AOR Raikkonen actually with 2.5 inches of an advantage on Ycoms so far in the lap. As they now come through the very tight section of turn 4, 5 and 6. Kind of awkward double apex right here, where it's not too crucial to clip the first apex, but very crucial to clip the second one. And then we come into the fast and flowy section of this circuit. Turn 7, turn 8, turn 9, all very high speed. Keep it tight to the left here for as wide as possible of an entry to turn 10 so that it can carry as much speed as possible. And look how close these guys are to the track limits, just about touching the white line there. And they're both pretty much dead equal coming into the final sector of the lap. The stadium section, fast right to turn 12 into a very slow hairpin of turn 13. Wide entry, late apex, and then immediately changing over to the right for 14 and 15, leading into 16, the final proper corner here. We're getting on the traction without oversteer and carrying a good amount of speed is very, very difficult. Both of them having to control it a bit, but it is Ycoms that managed to gain the edge at the end of the lap to take P6 of the grid with a 117.6. AOR Raikkonen 2/10ths behind in P10.
Taking a look at the grid for the Mexican Grand Prix, and it was newly crowned Season 12 champion, the Flying Finn, who took another pole position, and lining up alongside him on the front row of the grid will be VBR StreeZ in the Red Bull, less than a 10th off pole. Ciari will line up third with STSF1 Alonso in the other Williams with a very strong qualifying up in P4, with TRL Limitless and Ycoms making up the third row of the grid. Leo Bottom, Maurizio Alonso with Mike Marshall and AOR Raikkonen just behind will round out the top 10, with Franglish and Burnout the first cars to have free tyre choice for the race. Jason, Snowadore, AOR Reversal, RS Falcon, 6 skills, and then the 2 reserve drivers of IRL Giovinazzi and TRL Williams will round out the grid, and then Andre BCF 1997 and TRL Hamilton both unable to set a time, and notably we have TRL Martin and HR Cupid unable to make the race, so it could make a little bit of a surprise up at the front, but now it is time for the Mexican Grand Prix.
Bienvenido and welcome to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, where we're preparing to go racing for the very first time, and with a 0% chance of rain, despite looking a little bit dark on your screen there. It is going to be a dry session, so very much looking forward to this one. It's going to be a first time for a lot of the drivers as far as driving at this circuit competitively, and certainly for me, but I think for you as well, Ali, it's going to be our first time commentating.
Yeah, it's a little bit of something new for pretty much every driver on the grid. I mean, it's a track that does promote quite a lot of overtaking. There is an enormous pit straight, almost China-esque how long it is. You can see it on screen at the moment, and then there's the second DRS zone as well. So there should be plenty of overtaking, a little bit of strategic variation as well, maybe between the 1 and the 2 stop. The guys in the top 10 starting on the supers more likely to do a 2 stop, and then starting outside the top 10, it is very, very possible to do a one-stop, and you do lose quite a lot of time in the pit lane because of such a long pit straight. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out, and I think we have a pretty good race ahead of us.
Yep, and the Flying Finn is kicking things off this weekend the way he finished things last weekend, starting from pole position, giving him the best opportunity, but it is a very long run down into that first corner, and as you mentioned, Ali, there is that overtaking location at turn 4 as well with the second DRS zone, so could potentially see lots of battling into turn 4 on this opening lap. AOR Reversal quite a ways out of position. In fact, he hasn't really been having stellar performances recently, so I'm sure he's going to be looking to have a good performance. Still plenty to play for in the championship. Second position separated by just 19 points between Sayaryu and Martin. However, Martin is absent today, which is certainly going to play into the hands of Sayaryu and just make it that little bit easier for him to possibly hold on to that second place in the championship with just 2 more races after this one. I can't believe this season's already coming to an end. We've got 4 lights, we've got 5 lights, engines revving as we prepare to go racing. Oh, it's a jump start for Franglish. That's going to be a big penalty. He's going to gain a number of positions, but he's going to have to go in for a drive-through, unless I'm mistaken here. On board with TRL Limitless, who has obviously lost that position to Franglish. Oh no! And big contact between STSF1 Alonso and Franglish, and AOR Raikkonen is into the wall. He's lost the wheel. He's lost AOR Reversal has lost his entire front wing despite now being into the top 10. StreeZ has now taken the lead of this race from the Flying Finn. Leobot in 3rd position with Sayaryu pressuring him on the left-hand side as we come down towards that turn number 4 where I expected lots of action previously. Leobot actually looking on the outside of the Flying Finn rather than defending from Sayaryu. And Sayaryu has actually got his teammate up behind him, Burnout F1, up into 5th position. The 2 Renaults in the top 5 already at the start, and there was a lot of chaos at the back there, Ali.
Yeah, that was a completely chaotic start. I think it was all kicked off with Franglish's jump start, maybe distracting a few of the drivers, and that's what led to that huge pile-up. A number of drivers involved in that, but something to note, Sayaryu has a bit of minor front wing damage as well, as now we have Jason trying to look down the inside of RS Falcon, coming into the stadium section for the first time. There's not a lot of space to go side by side through this section. RS Falcon is going to be on the inside for the hairpin. Jason trying to go around the outside. There's not a lot of space there either. And that's very, very nice defending from the McLaren. But yeah, a very hectic start. Once again, a lot of incidents and so many drivers look to be caught up in that. Something else to point out is Sayaryu looked to be 6 laps down on fuel. So he's going to have to be doing a lot of fuel saving in this race, as Limitless is having to make a lap 1 stop. So was AOR Reversal. I mean, I found it kind of bizarre how he managed to lose a full front wing and then also practically half his starting position, which shows how much carnage went on. But so many drivers affected by that, and I think that is definitely going to have a major impact on the race ahead of us.
Yeah, and it looks like these guys all fitting a set of the mediums, also getting held for a long time as well. Limitless, though, getting a new front wing put on, 8.2 second stop for him, 9.3 second stop for Ycoms, who comes out on the mediums. Andre BCF 1987 opting for the soft compound tires for the Toro Rosso driver. And there is our leader, StreeZ. As mentioned, he grabbed that lead pretty early on in the race from the Flying Finn. The Red Bull now leading the Williams on the second lap. No DRS just yet, but it will get activated. And for the second DRS zone, we will see some DRS flaps being open. But go ahead and talk us through the opening here, Ali.
Yeah, this is on board with the Flying Finn, who started on pole. You can see how much lag there is from Franglish's point of view. And then this is, I think, is what kicks it off with STSF1 Alonso moving over on the straight. Or at least that's what it looks like from the Flying Finn's point of view. And then that seems to catch out a number of cars, and they all end up flying towards the wall. And they all seem to be complete passengers, really, as this is now on board with Sayaryu. He managed to pick up some minor front wing damage and all that, as Franglish is all over the place with that lag. You can see StreeZ challenging the Flying Finn, and then somehow Sayaryu managed to keep that in a straight line. Then all hell breaks loose on either side of him and behind him, and somehow he's still facing in the right direction. And this is on board with the man who we believe caused it all. It was such a good qualifying for STSF1 Alonso as well. That's got to be absolutely heartbreaking to spin and have no front wing before we even get to turn 1. But you can see from that point of view how many cars got caught up in that, and on board with Franglish,
he didn't even jump
just go out miles before anyone else, and then so much lag is going on there. I mean, that is what we refer to as a lag start. So his lights went out completely differently timed to everyone else, and then he just gets, oh my goodness, that was a hefty impact. And he's sent spinning, pirouetting a couple of times, and this is on board with Ycoms, and there's just absolutely nothing he can do. He just gets pinballed into a wall, front wing everywhere, cars everywhere, and Yeah, there's not really much you can do about that. There are so many cars, such a short space of track, and then this is Raikkonen. There are cars all over the place. Then Ciaryu, with his lack of momentum, he runs into the back of him and then loses a wheel on the wall, which is incredibly unfortunate for him. And then Burnout F1, he gained so much out of that crash. Oh my goodness. How on earth has he survived that? There are just cars flying everywhere, and he manages to keep it facing in the right direction. That is just hope and pray as soon as you get caught up in that, and you can see how much carnage there is from Jason's point of view. He's another one who gains a load of positions, and there are wheels, tyres, front wings, whole cars, bits of cars everywhere, cars in the air as well. Nothing quite as impressive as Ciaryu last time out, but yeah, I mean, that is quite a sight to behold. So many cars going in so many different directions with so many bits falling off them.
Yeah, carbon fiber just strewn all about the tracks. Even the braking markers aren't safe. Just absolutely everything getting destroyed in that first incident. Mike Marshmallow as well. I don't know if we saw an onboard from him, but both the Saubers coming off pretty poorly. Oh gosh, and this is what happened with Andre BCF 1997. It's unfortunate because that could have been really, really beneficial for him if he could have scythed his way through all of that chaos. But here we are at the start of lap 4 now. DRS is activated. Jason 97 F1 looks like he's going to grab a position off the McLaren. IRL Giovinazzi as well in the Haas is going to grab a position potentially. And the race start will be investigated later on in the race. We're getting a message that it is under investigation, so we will hear some more about that race start later on. But here's the Ferrari of Jason 97 F1 trying to make a move on Burnout F1. Remember, Burnout only with 1 point scored so far this season, finds himself in the top 5, but not if Jason 97 F1 has anything to do about it. He's going to have the inside line now for this next right-hander, but Burnout F1 carries lots of speed around the outside. RS Falcon trying to get involved with this as well from 7th position, and on the soft tires, a bit of contact between the Renault and the Ferrari, and the McLaren says, thank you very much, I will take that, and slots in behind Burnout F1, who's going to hold on to that 5th place position. Again, he's only scored 1 point so far in this entire season, now finds himself in the top 5 at the beginning of this race, so this is a good opportunity for him to increase his points tally for the season if he can manage to do so. But he is just absolutely being harassed by RS Falcon. I do believe he is on the super soft compound tires, the Burnout F1 in the Renault. I believe he's on the super softs, on board with his teammate Ciaryu now, as he is in the slipstream and picking up the DRS off of Leobot up ahead, but really not getting very close to him as we approach turn 1. Jason 97 F1 going to try once again on RS Falcon. Going to have to go around the outside as we get into the braking zone for that first corner. Hugging the inside is RS Falcon, and it looks like he is going to hold on to that position. Oh, Leobot very slow at the exit of the corner. That's actually going to put Ciaryu under attack from his teammate. His teammate knows, of course, that Ciaryu has already lost the championship, so free play for everybody here. And Burnout actually is going to go around the outside of his teammate, possibly Leobot. The switchback now for Ciaryu. Contact between the Toro Rosso and the Renault, 3 wide through the right-hander. It looks like Burnout is going to make some contact with the McLaren. Jason 97 F1 and IRL Giovinazzi are just going to pull right through. Incredible racing, but lots of contact here, Ali.
Yeah, it's so crowded in the midfield. Despite half the grid being taken out before we even got to turn 1, there is still plenty of action. As I think Leobot has run a little bit wide, and we have Jason trying to go around the outside of Ciaryu. He seems to be lacking a little bit in straight line speed compared to the Toro Rosso. Leobot's gone straight on. Ciaryu's trying to go down the inside into the hairpin. Is Jason going to be able to get past as well? There's a bit of contact. There's a bit of contact between Falcon, Giovinazzi, Burnout. Everyone is getting involved in this scrap as Falcon's trying to go down the inside of the Haas into the final corner. He's made it stick as Leobot and Ciaryu both pull into the pits, but it's going to be Jason under pressure from Burnout, I think, and RS Falcon is going to be picking up a bit of slipstream. Falcon, Giovinazzi, Jason, they all have really good opportunities in this race. They have such good tyres compared to everyone else. StreeZ has pitted from the lead of the race. He's not a guy we've seen too much recently, but he showed earlier on in the season that he has plenty of pace, and he's showing that once again today as this battle for what is now P2 is raging ever stronger with so many guys on fresh tyres. They could all be threats for possibly the race win towards the end of the race as Falcon with an almighty dive bomb into turn 4, and he's managed to make that a stick. I don't know whether that was intentional or not because he was so late on the brakes, but he has made it work in all fairness to him, and now he's got to try desperately to stick with the TRS of the 2 guys in front.
Yeah, wow, that was, as you said, an almighty dive bomb from the McLaren driver, RS Falcon. It did move him up into 4th position. I can't believe that the move actually worked, but it completely worked for him. So on board with the de facto leader of this race at the moment with the Flying Finn on those Super Softs, now 6 laps old, not counting qualifying, of course, as well. So they're going to be in a pretty rough spot. You can see, yeah, 66% on that rear left, so they are crying out already and begging to be changed. And as Ali mentioned earlier, probably a 2-stop race for this one. RS Falcon getting the back end, stepping out ever so slightly through the final corner as he now gets into the slipstream of that Haas up ahead. The other Haas of TRL Limitless way down in 13th position, but trying to remedy that with AOR Reversal in the Sauber up ahead, getting very late onto the brakes for turn number 12. Into the stadium section we go. Going to be difficult to try and overtake here. Reversal taking a very late apex. Very different lines for turn 13 from these two drivers, and again, very different entrances for that final corner, or turn 16 now through 17 through the final corner as we cross the start-finish line to start lap number 7 now. And here we go with TRL Limitless with the DRS open now in the slipstream. Is Reversal going to defend the inside line? No, he's not. Limitless moves over to the right-hand side and cruises right on past the Sauber to take P12. Incredibly, and amazingly, STSF1 Alonso still running around in 14th position despite being smack dab in the middle of that opening lap incident. He is still managing to go around. I think it was the Ferrari of Raikkonen that I think was the most unlucky in all of that. Just a slight contact with the barrier. It wasn't even head on. He just kind of grazed it, and it still removed the wheel. Very unfortunate. The Flying Finn, though, is getting towards the tire life areas where they're thinking about popping or deflating, so he is going to come into the pits at the end of lap 7 with 29 laps remaining. And we'll have to see if he fits a set of the mediums or the soft compound tires. As a number of drivers are going to go by him, he's going to be relegated down to 5th, and it looks like he's going to lose at least 2, possibly 3 more positions in the pits there. And it does look like the mediums, a set of medium compound tires for our new AOR champion, and he's going to feed out just behind the manor of 6 skills, and with nobody behind him, actually. So that's a good pit stop there, Ali.
It is possibly a good pit stop, but StreeZ is now a car ahead and also pretty far down the road. You can see he's the car ahead of 6 skills. That is a very, very sizable gap, and that was only a 2-lap undercut, so that's a huge amount of time that StreeZ has gained. But look at this battle going on in the midfield. We saw RS Falcon's tyre wear a little while ago, and it did look pretty good, so he could potentially be on a 1-stop in this race. I mean, he needs to get to, I'd say, mid-teens on the softs to be able to go to the end on a set of mediums, and he was looking fairly good to do that, so that is probably a viable strategy for the McLaren driver at this stage. But you can see how mixed up the grid has become after that huge incident on lap 1. We have Giovinazzi, Falcon and Burnout as well, and Jason, who's now the leader of the race, which is kind of incredible considering where all these guys started and where we've seen them previously in the season. But the reserve driver IRL Giovinazzi is now all over the back of Burnout F1, who will be definitely looking to build up his points tally as he pits from P2. So he's definitely going to be on a 2-stop race, and I think the guys in the top 3 now currently could possibly be on a 1-stop, as now we have the Flying Finn on the back of 6 skills. He's got to get past pretty quickly, otherwise StreeZ is going to get even further down the road, as Giovinazzi has just not got on the brakes at all for turn 1, and then the Flying Finn cruising past the manor into turn 1. Not much opposition provided there, so it's a pretty simple move, but you can see the gap is enormous to StreeZ, and I noticed StreeZ as well was on the soft tyres compared to the Flying Finn on mediums, so some pretty different strategies going on at this stage.
And it looks like RS Falcon is going to go deep into turn 4 out of sympathy for Giovinazzi's going deep at turn 1. So those two guys trading going deep into different corners. Here's a replay of lap 3 between Limitless and one of the Manors. I think Snowy got taken out in the first incident, so I assume that is 6 skills, or is this Snowy? It looks like actually that is Snowy, so some side-by-side action between Snowy and Limitless as they're coming down the very long straight. Limitless with the inside line. Snowy can't quite hang it with him, no, and that's how Limitless gained that position. Back on board with the McLaren of RS Falcon, and Jason97F1 is really pulling away. The McLaren dives into the pits at the end of lap 9 for his stop, and it looks like StreeZ is going to continue on because, of course, he's already made his first stop. Ycoms going around in P16, which is second to last, worth pointing out. So it's been a tough race for the Force India driver, and it looks like RS Falcon has a penalty. I think that was a stop-go penalty for the McLaren driver, if I'm not mistaken, or else that was just some sort of weird hold in the pits there. It looks like, oh, he's going to get fed out right into this traffic, though. There goes Limitless. Here comes Reversal now on the left-hand side. STSF1 Alonso and the Williams potentially could be a threat as well. Here's a lap 5 replay. Looking at, oh yeah, that was the battle between the two Renaults when Burnout went nearly around the outside of 2 cars, and then we had that moment where they touched, and then we're 3 wide into turn 6, I believe that is, and then the McLaren runs off the circuit, loses a number of positions. I mean, there is 7 cars within a second and a half of each other coming out of turn 6 there. Incredibly close racing that we're seeing here. RS Falcon on lap 11 getting the slipstream and the DRS off of Reversal. He's got the inside line for turn 1. Looks like Reversal braked a little bit later there, but Falcon just able to carry that apex speed through turn 1, get that position. And here's a replay of the Flying Finn. And that is T.R.O. Williams. He's one of the reserve drivers for today's race on account of the absences from Martin and Cupid today. So he just got his first taste of what it feels like to be overtaken by the Flying Finn. So welcome to the club. Now he knows how pretty much all the other drivers feel. And IRL Giovinazzi is about to find out what it feels like to get overtaken by the Flying Finn as well, I think, here, Ali.
Yeah, the Flying Finn is about to overtake him as Giovinazzi's managed to make those tyres go a very long way. I mean, 13 laps on a set of softs is very, very impressive, but the Flying Finn has been released into clear air. He's got Jason, who has just pitted from the lead of the race. He's gone onto a set of mediums. He is also surely going to be looking to go to the end, as we have Ciariu all over the back of Leobot, who gained a lot out of that turn 1 incident. I'm not sure whether Ciariu repaired his front wing damage or not. I mean, if he hasn't, that is going to hinder him a lot, just because of the nature of the track and all the high-speed corners, but also, something to note into turn 1, I think the 100-meter board is gone, which might explain why Giovinazzi went so far deep into turn 1, because that is an absolutely crucial reference point. Personally, that's the one I would use, and I think that is probably one that a lot of the other drivers are going to be using as well. So, not many people are going to be thanking whoever blew that one up on lap 1, but this is on board with Ycoms, who's running around right at the back almost. That's a big moment. That's a huge moment into the wall, and he's lost 2 wheels, I believe. So very, very unfortunate for the Force India driver. That is quite an impressive feat, managing to lose 2 wheels, but after the start I don't think he was really looking to get much from this race anyway.
Yeah, interesting shot of him in the pit lane afterwards too. I think that's a new one for the AOR highlights series. I don't think we've ever seen that one before. But back on board with our current leader, StreeZ, who, as you mentioned earlier, Ali, is very quick. He proved very early on in the season to be a very quick driver. We thought maybe he was even going to be a championship contender. That really hasn't turned out to be the case for him. But hopefully he can, I mean, Romain Grosjean, great example of someone who's very quick and then matured into somebody who's not just quick, but also just a very good racer. And hopefully we'll see that type of stuff from a lot of these drivers. It's amazing the maturity that we've seen growing among all of the drivers in this season. Lots of new faces and a new champion, of course, for this year, a rookie champion as well. And it's been fantastic to watch all of them grow throughout the course of this season 12. But yeah, it's looking pretty lonely for StreeZ there. You can just about see the Williams in the background, just kind of haunting him, but really not applying any sort of pressure. I don't think StreeZ is going to be feeling the pressure of having that champion riding along behind him. However, of course, the Flying Finn is now secured in that championship, so he could be a little bit more aggressive than we have seen him be in past races, particularly in the closing stages of this season where, he was really thinking about that championship. So we could see a bit more aggression from the Flying Finn potentially as Jason97 F1 now trying to size up Leobot. Leobot already lost that position to the Renault of Ciariu not that long ago, and it looks like Jason97 F1 is going to try and have a repeat performance here. Very long straight on the run down towards turn 1, as has been mentioned, and getting onto the brakes for the Ferrari. And yeah, I mean, you could see there, Ali, he is definitely struggling to find his braking point.
I mean, yeah, it must be incredibly difficult without the board. You've got to try and improvise and find something else. But Jason almost onto the back of Burnout, who pitted a couple laps earlier. And this is Cyril Hamilton overtaking one of the Toro Rossos into turn 1. That's not as simple a move as you would have thought. And this is for P6, I believe. But that's very impressive defending from the Toro Rosso driver, and Hamilton not quite being able to get past as of yet. But Ciari running around in P3, he was one of the innocent victims in the pre-turn 1 pileup, but his softs are crying enough at this stage. 74% wear, and I think that shows that the track really is a rear limited track. The traction through the final sector is absolutely horrific. As soon as your tyres get past 50%, you're going to be losing a lot of time as he steams into the pit lane at quite a rate there, as Leobot is now under all kinds of pressure from Cyril Hamilton once again. Can you make the move stick into turn 1? This time Hamilton's got a lot of spare fuel to use, putting up into Rich in the slipstream with the DRS. His tyres aren't looking too bad at this stage, and down the inside into turn 1, and he's already passed before the braking zone. He misses his apex slightly due to the overspeed that he carried into the corner and tags the Toro Rosso on the exit, and Leobot is in the wall, and that is a big shame for him after looking so promising early on. And it looks like Leobot is actually struggling to get it facing in the right direction again. As soon as you get grass on your tyres, it can be a big issue trying to get going again, as Hamilton, full respect to him for waiting. I mean, it must be pretty hard from his point of view, and also in the heat of the moment, to tell whether that's actually his fault or not. It's very sportsmanlike to immediately hold his hands up and wait for him. But yeah, it's a hard one to judge from that point of view alone. I think we'd need to see Leobot's point of view, but this is back on board with the battle for the lead of the race. The Flying Finn is slowly closing in on StreeZ. I think StreeZ's soft tyres, after being a little bit older than the Flying Finns, are going to be not in the greatest of states at the moment, and the Flying Finn on the mediums as well, they are going to be beginning to be quicker at this stage of the race, and also he might be able quicker tyres at the end as well, which is something to note. And then this is a replay of what we saw between Leobot and Cyril Hamilton. You can see the Mercedes running slightly deep, and then I think Leobot just kind of runs into the Mercedes, misjudges the move slightly, and ends up kind of running into him. I think that is probably a racing incident. It's very kind of Cyril Hamilton to wait, but you can see the gap for the lead is very small now. The Flying Finn is all over the back of VBR StreeZ, or will be very shortly, and the softs are really going to start going off. We saw people do around 13-14 laps at a push early on in the race, and I think that is almost what StreeZ will have done now as he comes into the pits for his final stop. And once again he's going to try and work the undercut, but that is going to present the Flying Finn with a massive opportunity at the end of the race. He's going to be on much better tyres and will surely have an opportunity to overtake in the final stages, but he is not going to have track position, so we are going to have to see a move from the champion. So now on board with AOR Reversal into the final sector. He's been having a nightmare. It would be a bit of a miracle if we managed to see him with a recovery drive get himself back up into the top 10 after the position he was in at the end of lap 1 as he pits from P8, and I'm not sure where he's going to come out, but I would imagine it's a little way behind the points. But look at this man, AOR Giovinazzi running in the top 5, a reserve driver so far up the field is a very impressive thing to see, and I think he's not doing himself he's doing himself a lot of favours there with a reserve drive being so far up the field. He's been impressive in all the races we've seen him in so far, actually. So full respect to AOR Giovinazzi. We now have another reserve driver, Tyrrell Williams, on the back of RS Falcon, I believe. So again, another strong reserve driver, and it shows the strength and depth in this league as well, particularly.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that AOR has these kinds of drivers just on tap and ready to go at a moment's notice, yeah, it really does highlight the competitiveness of the league without question. So here we go with StreeZ on Jason97 F1 getting very close in the braking zone. You can see it, the way he just closes up. He's so much more confident into the stadium section on those brakes, and running in the wake of that Ferrari up ahead, carrying much more speed on the apex as well through there. I mean, he's going to get by him before the DRS activation line. We've got the detection line. Here's the activation line. The wing flap opens now, and StreeZ will begin to distance himself between himself and Jason97 F1, but incredible traction out of those final few corners. And CRL Hamilton is he's got Sayaru for company. DRS is open, and the Mercedes is actually pulling away, despite the Renault being in the slipstream and despite the Renault getting DRS. But oh man, with that late braking, a bit of a dive from Sayaru. Hamilton's going to come back at him, but no, he parks it on the apex for the left-hander and blocks him off a little bit. The Mercedes might carry a little bit more speed out of that corner as we make the run down towards turn number 4 now. Doesn't look like Sayaru is going to defend the inside line. Even if he goes to the inside, he's then got to get around the outside for this corner. So yeah, Sayaru stays to the outside for turn 4, holds on to that position as the Flying Finn makes his way through the stadium section and on these medium compound tires. I did notice almost immediately after he pitted for those mediums that it said he was going to be going onto the softs for the final stint. So it is down to these two men, StreeZ and the Flying Finn, and their set of soft tires, which on StreeZ's side is going to be a little bit on the older side. He's also got the Renault of Burnout F1 here, who is holding him up potentially, but then also most certainly giving him DRS, which is going to allow him to pull that gap ever so slightly on that man coming out of the pits right now, the Flying Finn. But yeah, there we go. Getting by was indeed part of the plan for StreeZ. He does indeed get by into the braking zone for turn 1 and retakes the lead of the race. And with Burnout F1 sat in between himself and the Flying Finn, and at the start of the lap as well, the Flying Finn is going to be way too far back to try and make the overtake on Burnout F1 into turn 4 here, which means he's going to be stuck behind that Renault all the way through sectors 2 and 3, unless he can make some sort of overtake into turn 12. We'll have to keep an eye out on that. RS Falcon coming under attack from the reserve driver of TRL Williams, who's going to try and go around the outside of turn 4, and does so very well, I might add, actually. Parking it on the apex, just blocking that McLaren. Very well executed from the Red Bull of TRL Williams. And actually, with Falcon's rears already getting into the 70% range, I'm expecting, carrying a lot of speed and making contact with the back of that Red Bull. That's definitely not going to help Falcon, but I expect him to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap anyway, Ali.
Yeah, well, we saw how powerful the undercut is, with StreeZ coming in just, I think, 1 or 2 laps earlier than the Flying Finn and putting a massive gap despite the traffic as the Williams are getting sideways out of the final corner. StreeZ sets the fastest lap of the race, and now it is going to be a straight fight between the Season 12 champion, the Flying Finn, and StreeZ, who's shown plenty of times he is a very, very capable driver. They are on almost identical tyres. They're on the same compound, but the Flying Finn has a 1 lap fresher set, I believe. But now back on board with CRU. He's not been having the greatest of races again after having to pit slightly early due to that front wing damage he picked up on lap 1, and seems to be lacking a lot in straight line speed. I've never seen anything quite like this, where he's just in the slipstream and unable to close up at all, even when he's really, really close to the car in front, which is slightly strange to see, but it must be infuriating from his point of view, being so close to cars and not being able to get through. But this is on board with TRL Limitless, battling for P11 with 6 kills, and he's managed to get himself only 1 position away from the points, which I'd say has got to be a success after the position he was in after lap 1. But you can see the battle for the lead is really beginning to hot up now. We have the Flying Finn and StreeZ, who's just set the fastest lap of the race, now battling out for the lead of the race. And here we get a direct comparison of how OP the slipstream is on this game. He's closing so much into turn 1. Is he going to go for a dive? He is, from a long way back. He goes for a lunge into turn 1. He's forced StreeZ to run wide. He's going to get a cutback line through turns 3 and 4. Is he going to be able to get on the power? Both of them lose the car quite a lot on the exit. He's putting it straight back up into Rich Mix with the DRS, this time moving to the outside for turn 4. Is he going to go to the inside? There is not a lot of space at all there. They almost make contact with each other. StreeZ is going to be on the inside line. There's contact, and StreeZ is round, and what was looking to be an incredible battle has just ended very, very bitterly between the two of them. And I don't really know what to think of that at the moment. StreeZ just seemed to get caught out by how much speed the Flying Finn carried around the outside, Justin.
Yeah, let's see the... I was going to say I would like to see the replay from StreeZ's point of view, because, yeah, we saw with that previous incident between the Toro Rosso and Mercedes that it kind of was a racing incident. And, yeah, I think the line that StreeZ was carrying there, as he picks up a 3-second corner cut penalty in all of that as well, just to really make him feel bad about it. But here's the replay again, once again from the Flying Finn's point of view. He switches over to the inside line, tries to sell him the dummy. It kind of works, but then his line is really hampered. You can see he leaves room at the inside of the corner. It's just that StreeZ's entrance angle for that right-hander was all wrong after going deep, and there really just wasn't that much he could do to try. And he was so desperate to go side by side. I'm going to call that one a racing incident, I think. But StreeZ trying to make up a position now on the Ferrari. He's got the DRS on the run down towards turn number 4. He's going to have to go around the outside, but it looks like he's already gotten his Red Bull by before even getting into the apex of the corner. So back up into second position and possibly fired up now. I don't know if the Flying Finn is slowing down. Yes, he is. The Flying Finn is indeed slowing down for him. So that's actually 2 times now that we've seen people in this race letting other drivers back through when necessarily, at least by our estimates, Ali, they really didn't need to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can describe that as anything other than a racing incident, but again, it's very, very sportsmanlike behaviour, even right at the front of the field, battling for the lead of the race. I mean, you've got to be pretty certain you've done something wrong if you're going to give up the lead of the race in what is probably one of the most prestigious leagues on this game. So, full respect to the Flying Finn for that one, and now it looks like once again we are going to have this battle develop for the lead of the race as Jason pits from P3. It looks like no drivers really could get that one-stop strategy to work, so now we are going to have to concentrate on the guys who are on the two-stop fighting it out for the lead. I mean, Jason's going on to super soft, so he's going to be absolutely lightning at this stage. But the Flying Finn, is he going to look to the inside for turn 1? He's not. He does a little bit of a dummy, but we saw a lap ago he did a little bit of a Daniel Ricciardo versus Sebastian Vettel into turn 4. Very late on the brakes, very late moving as well, and very, very aggressive from both drivers involved. But Jason's going to come out in P6 with a lot of clear air, and Burnout F1 is running in the top 5, and what a story that would be if the Renault could get himself in the top 5 after scoring so few points all season. But once again, this battle for the lead is really hotting up very nicely. The Flying Finn versus StreeZ. You can see how close he is through the middle sector. There's no real passing opportunities until we get into the stadium section with that right-hander. He's just going to have to sit behind through these very fast sweepers, try and maximise this exit. Is he going to be close enough in the slipstream? We're not going to know, because we're going on board with Sierra Hamilton, who's running around in P11 with RS Falcon just ahead of him. And AOR Reversal is in the points after lap 1, which is quite a feat. I mean, he is on the mediums, I believe, and he's got 2 guys on the super softs behind, so I don't know how long he's going to stay there, but this fight is really going to get very, very interesting into the final stages of this race.
Yeah, StreeZ hasn't scored, in fact hasn't finished a race since Baku, now finds himself in the battle for the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix with our newly crowned champion, no less, as well. So again, StreeZ really showing the kind of pace, the kind of battling, the kind of pace that we could have been seeing all season long from him. And I only hope that he can kind of carry this confidence in to the 2 more races that we have remaining on this calendar, and possibly into season 13 as well, because he is really harassing the guy that has already won 10 races in this season. He's won more than half of the races, and there StreeZ is right there with him. Sayaryu now making the move. This was on lap 27 on TRL Williams, once again the reserve driver. That's going to put Sayaryu up into 4th position, and with DRS as well, as he opens that flap to just extend that gap a little bit to the other Red Bull. So the 2 Red Bull cars are driving very, very well today. There's another dummy, actually, moves to the right-hand side. Flying Finn defends. StreeZ tries to go to the outside. He'll get the inside line now for this corner. Kind of parks it on the apex a little bit, making it that little bit harder for the Flying Finn. Now the run down towards turn number 4. StreeZ, though, because of the single DRS detection line, will get the benefit of the DRS, but Flying Finn, using that slipstream into turn 4, is going to have to go around the outside of turn 5 and turn 6, which would be truly incredible if he could actually do it, and he actually has done it amazingly. He's going to have the inside line for 7 now, and it looks like, oh, he's still there. He's going to have to give him the room. StreeZ is still alongside him, but no, just about edges out the Red Bull through turn number 9 there, and holy cow, this is an almighty race, and with just a handful of laps still remaining in this inaugural Mexican Grand Prix. I know the Mexican Grand Prix hasn't been the most thrilling of Formula One races that we've seen, but this has been a heck of a way to start the Mexican Grand Prix's existence in the AOR League for sure, as the Flying Finn still having to deal with StreeZ. And again, worth pointing out that the Flying Finn does have fresher tires. He is the driver with fresher tires, and I'm wondering if we're going to see the tire life come into play here, because I mean, you can see StreeZ just flying right by. He's got the traction coming out of the final couple of corners in order to set himself up for an overtake into turn 1. But how long is it going to be before the Red Bull driver hits that cliff and has to start worrying about his tires potentially popping even? Here's CRL Hamilton trying to get back into the points on RS Falcon on lap 29 on the rundown towards turn 12. Ooh, turning in a little bit early there, and he made some contact, sent him wide through the corner. That's got to be frustrating for the Mercedes driver. Let's see it from Falcon's point of view. Oh, yeah. Not much he really could have done. I think he just kind of went deep into that. I'm not sure if we're going to see any sort of action, though. I think that was maybe just a racing incident, but Limitless now coming under attack from his teammate, IRL Giovinazzi, the reserve driver, and teammate to one-time championship contender TRL Limitless, trying to make the move into turn 1, not quite able to make it work there. Limitless does actually have nice even tire wear. That was interesting. It was about 50% on all 4 wheels. But yeah, his teammate on those soft compound tires is going to try and go around the outside once again at turn 4. But, yeah, he's actually going to do it. He's just about stuck it with him. He's got the inside line for 5. He'll have the inside line for 6 as well. Limitless gives him the space. Very respectful driving from both of the Haas drivers there. And Giovinazzi up into P7 ahead of TRL Limitless. A fantastic showing from him, and with only 3 laps remaining, it's a sizable gap up ahead, so I don't think he's going to be able to get much higher than 7th unless there's some carnage up ahead, Ali, but P7 is not bad at all for a reserve driver.
Yep, as we mentioned earlier, very impressive drive from IRL Giovinazzi and also Tyrrell Williams, the other reserve driver today, but now back on board with this stunning battle for the lead of the race. Absolutely incredible racing between these two. This is some pretty magical stuff we're seeing in front of us today. Is now the Flying Finn sliding out of turn 3. He's got the DRS. Is he going to go to the inside? Is he going to go to the outside, making the late dive round the outside? Is he going to be able to hold it? He's going to look to the outside, not the inside for this time. Is he going to be able to get better traction? Not quite. He's got to sit behind. He's looking down the inside at every opportunity. It must be so unnerving being StreeZ in that Red Bull, seeing a Williams in your mirrors on the inside on every single corner pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of respect between these two despite all the aggression that we've been seeing. So much moving in the braking zone, so much late moving, so much late darting everywhere on the straights as well. And then this is Burnout and Jason. And Burnout has had I don't know entirely what's happened there. I think Burnout has had some kind of major issues. We're back on board with the 2 Haas cars of Giovinazzi and Limitless. I mean, despite having much older tyres and also the slower compound of tyre, Limitless is still able to keep with his reserve teammate, but StreeZ now all under kind of pressure from the Flying Finn. He's in the slipstream, he's got the DRS, is he going to go to the inside aggressively? He is, there's not a lot of space there. Looking to the inside at turn 1, is he going to be able to pick out his braking? He is very nice. StreeZ is going to have a cutback though. He's going to have a much better line through turns 2 and 3. The Flying Finn was slightly compromised. He is going to have DRS once again though, due to only having 1 detection point, but StreeZ all over the back of the Williams. Are we going to see a late dive bomb? Not quite. And the penultimate lap of the race, this is really, really hotting up for the final lap, Justin.
Yep, this is getting really intense. And it's also getting intense between the 2 Haas drivers, as well as Limitless just refuses to give up that position. I mean, it's kind of late in the season, you know, it's getting warmer and warmer outside, so I don't know, part of me thinks that JD really just wants to have a good battle with his teammate there. He's not even so much concerned about the points, he just likes going side by side. These 2 guys though, I'm not sure how much they like going side by side. I hope they like it because they've been doing it nearly all race long. As they round the final corner to start the final lap of this inaugural Mexican Grand Prix for AOR. And it is the Flying Finn who leads at the moment, but he is not the one with the DRS. StreeZ is the one with the DRS now, and that means StreeZ will also be the one with the DRS on the run down towards turn number 4. He dives to the inside, does the Red Bull driver, goes a little bit deep. Flying Finn is going to retake the position. Ooh, cuts across on the apex there pretty aggressively from the new champion. StreeZ, though, with a better exit out of the corner and with the DRS. Oh, fantastic camera angle here. Defending the inside line is the new champion, the Williams. StreeZ going to have to go around the outside. Nice, very close racing. Side by side into turn number 5. Oh, bit of contact there. The Williams going wide off of the circuit. The Red Bull with the inside line. Cut back now from the Flying Finn. Very close with one another as they come out of that corner. For some reason, blue flags are flashing. I'm not sure who that was for, but it definitely wasn't for either of these 2 drivers. Seyaru still holding on to 3rd place position. The Flying Finn all over the back of the Red Bull driver now as we make our way through those S's, coming out of turn 11 now and on the short run down towards turn number 12. This is really the final overtaking opportunity for the Flying Finn, and I think he knows it. He's going to try and go around the outside, but can't quite do it. Goes a little bit wide outside there. StreeZ leaves him the room at the inside of that hairpin, but then the Flying Finn can't go around the outside through that corner. 2 corners remaining. StreeZ with the inside line. A bit of bumping between the 2 of them, and I don't know who's going to come out on top. They cross the line side by side. StreeZ is the winner of the Mexican Grand Prix. Again, has not scored points since Baku. Picks up the win. Seyaru again on the podium despite having an incredible, very difficult race. TRO Williams in the points in 4th position for his first race. Limitless is going to finish behind his teammate Giovinazzi, unfortunately for him, but great for Giovinazzi, who picks up 6th position. Jason97 F1 in 5th. Reversal incredibly into the points, and Falcon is going to slide his way through the final corner with nearly dead rear tires to cross the line. And Andre BCF 1997 at 6 skills here, battling it out, all for pride. Oh, and Burnout F1 in 10th position. Oh man, that is unfortunate. He is going to drop down to 11th. I don't know what happened. Apparently he just let him by before. That was a strange one. But Ali, go ahead and talk us through this final lap here.
What a race that was. This final lap must have been so intense from both drivers as the Flying Fin nearly spins on the outside, but going side by side through the final corner. That was a sight to behold, and I'm sure that was one that will live long in the memory of all the viewers and also both of these two drivers, as the Flying Fin runs very, very wide through that corner, then dives it down the inside into the hairpin, and crucially he has the outside for the final corner, gets the better traction, gets a superior run, and is just able to carry slightly more speed as he slides so much. But I think in the end it was StreeZ's penalty that we saw him pick up early on that the Flying Fin was able to take the victory, which is such a shame for StreeZ after narrowly missing out on the win. But the gap was so small between the two of them. Then from this beautiful helicopter cam, look at that. And there we go, confirmation that the Flying Fin beat StreeZ by 0.001 of a second. A drag race up to the line, and what a finish that was. Absolutely incredible.
And
something I have never seen before.
It said race winner StreeZ.
That has got to be heartbreaking.
So even the game is confused. Okay, so no, in the end, no, it's saying that Flying Fin crossed the line 1,000th ahead, despite it popping up saying that StreeZ won. I mean, the finish was so close that the game doesn't even know who won necessarily, but it's going to go to the Flying Fin because of that 3-second time penalty, regardless of who crossed the line first, because of that 3-second time penalty. But again, Sayaryu as well, picking up that 3rd place position, very well deserved. TRL Williams, the reserve driver, IRL Giovinazzi as well, the reserve driver, the 2 reserves picking up points as well. 6 skills picking up a point for the Manor team, and AOR Reversal picking up a couple of points as well. As we saw, Burnout F1 in the end finishing outside of the points, still just 1 lap to his name. Snowadore, unfortunately for him, no points for him today either, so he will continue on with no points. Only driver that has yet to score points so far, and I know everybody is pretty much rooting for him, but holy cow, that was an incredible race. Strategy really came into that too as well, and I'm glad that it was dry, although some wet weather definitely could have spiced things up a little bit there. So in the championship, no surprise, Sayaryu extending that lead over TRL Martin and HCR Cupid, who were both absent for today's races. So that is now a 34-point gap between 2nd and 3rd, with only 2 races remaining, which means Martin is going to need some almighty luck if he wants to try and finish 2nd in the championship here, Ali.
Yep, I mean, missing this race has really hurt him, but what a race we had today. I mean, that finish was something quite incredible. I've never seen anything so close as that 1,000th of a second, which is something quite incredible. But this race will be remembered for not only what happened on lap 1, but also that ending. That ending will go down in AOR history, I'm sure. But looking at the Drivers' Championship, still Burnout F1 with only 1 point after he was running so high up the order today, but it didn't quite work out for him in the end. And then Snowy, obviously yet to score a point, the beloved Snowadore. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll be wanting to score fairly quickly. But Williams, there we go, confirmed as Constructors Champions last time out. And then Renault moving ahead of Mercedes today, and Red Bull not too far behind actually. But Sauber, they managed to rescue a decent-ish result in the end, with AOR Reversal getting up into the points after what happened on lap 1, which is very impressive from him. Then Toro Rosso, Haas, Ferrari, Force India, all very close actually, so we could see a bit of change going on there. But then McLaren, Honda and Manor rounding up the back of the grid in the Constructors. But yeah, not much in the end to fight for right at the top of the championships, with both of them being completely decided and set in stone now. But I'm sure if that's anything to go by, we'll have plenty of interesting races in the next couple.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, the championship wrapping up just means the drivers could be that little bit more daring and stuff like that. So I think it is making things more exciting. And next time, it is going to be the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, otherwise known as Interlagos for the true fans. Everybody calls it Interlagos. But we're going to go from one Autodromo to another Autodromo, and from North America to South America for the penultimate round of the Season 12 AOR F1 2016 Championship. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Thank you for watching. I have been Justin. Thank you for joining me, Ali, as always.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be here once again. The races have been absolutely incredible. It's been a pleasure to commentate once again, and I look forward to next week.
Yep, really looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. Could be some weather involved as well. Could be some precipitation. So make sure you guys tune in next time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.